Hi everyone, my name is Kelly, and today we're going to be talking about substance abuse. My partners today is Gianna S, Jess P, and Matt M. So, what is substance abuse? It is understood as a disorder in which alcohol or drug leads to dependence, as well as a disruption of daily living. Disruptions include relationships, work, and your health. So the DSM-5 is described. It describes the essential features of substance abuse, which is a cluster of cognitive, behavioral, and physiological symptoms indicating that the individual continues to use a substance despite the significant problems. So there are 11 different criteria that are broken down as such. You can see right here. So the DSM states that individuals age 18 to 24 have relatively high prevalence of use for virtually every substance. During this period, the adolescent brain is still developing, which means it can have detrimental effects. Risk taking is more prominent and tends to overpower good judgment. That being said, risk taking is part of the identity of the developing adolescent. So here are some statistics. There were 19.7 million adults aged 18 or older who experienced a substance abuse disorder in 2017. About 75 of these adults suffered from alcohol use disorder and 38 of and drug use disorder. 8.5 million Americans suffer from a mental health disorder and a substance abuse disorder together. 60.4 of American students in 9th to 12th grade had reported having at least one drink in their lives, and 30% of adolescents in that group reported they were currently using alcohol. So the group experience. Asian Americans have the lowest level of illicit drug use, followed by Hispanics, Caucasians, African Americans, with Native Americans having the highest percentage as 12.3. About 57% of American males and 47.5 of females 12 or older were current users of alcohol. Caucasians have the highest use of alcohol in the past 30 days, with Asian Americans having the lowest. So, substance abuse disorder usually found within adolescents and part of their growing risk factors as they transition to young adulthood. High risk factors for substance abuse include maturation of the aging process, emotional cognitive development, family, peers, social variables. Combination of genetic factors and environmental factors would increase this risk. So, genetics. Genes are associated with novelty seeking, risk taking, subjective effects of use, and drug metabolism. There is evidence that suggests a strong inherited aspect of alcohol abuse. Problems that are genetically influenced include motivation to drink, alcohol sensitivity, amount of alcohol consumed, length of drinking, and eventual dependence. So, environmental factors include parental monitoring, substance availability, peer substance use, and childhood sexual abuse. Physiological factors, adolescents experience more of the rewarding effects and less of the dangerous side effects. Chronic use will cause neurological damages or changes, such as tolerance, which can lead to um, increased risk for overdose and addiction. Tolerance causes craving, compulsive drug seeking, reckless behavior, and overwhelming desire to escape withdrawal. So, child factors. Mental health disorders can increase risk. The most common links include ADHD, chronic disorder, depression, child maltreatment, and panic attacks. Personality profiles linked to substance abuse, social deviance, increased need for excitement and pleasure seeking. So, parent and family factors. Parents influence their children's use through multiple factors. A fourth of children are exposed to alcohol abuse, dependence, and family settings. Parents using alcohol increase the likelihood that adolescents will use it. Siblings can legitimize it, create it, or debilitate use. Racism and poverty. A large amount of non white children live in poverty. 65% of Black children and 65% of Hispanic children live in low income families. 7% of children in low and single parent homes are also in low income homes as well. Poverty creates a greater exposure to stress, which can lead to unhealthy methods of coping. Low income families are a greater risk for substance abuse. So, school functioning, substance abuse affects the transmitter in the brains, which can lead to disrupt mood regulations, memory, and motivation. This in turn can lead to deviant behavior, absences, and higher risk of school dropout. Those who dropped out of school are actually more likely to use marijuana compared to those who are in school, as well as abuse non prescribed drugs. So, primary socialization theory, correlation between peers, family, and schools, that increases a child's likelihood towards deviant behavior, including substance abuse. Strong bonds between all of these categories will create a desire to follow social norms. If attachment to school or family is non existent or greatly outweighed by a negative peer group, a child is less likely to conform. So, attachment styles. Strong evidence for a generous link between substance abuse disorder and an insecure attachment issue. Data shows that an insecure attachment can manifest as depressive anxiety symptoms in adolescents. Insecure attachment can contribute to cognitive vulnerability to depression, including dysfunction attitudes. This can create an individual with low self esteem who is willing to engage in negative peer dynamics. So, social workers' tools to access and diagnose. Um, it's important to implement screening tools tailored to adolescent drug use before proceeding with urine tests. A positive drug result is neither diagnostic nor does it provide information about the person's history of substance abuse. Screening tools are a brief self-reported interview used as the first step in evaluating whether youth may or may not have a drug problem. So, CRAFT or CRAFFT is a specialized 6 item screen in the public domain designed to be administered during a routine pediatric interview to address alcohol and drug use. As you can tell, each letter correlates with a specific question. You can see that right here. So the global appraisal of individual needs, which is GAIN, it's commonly used in Connecticut, especially at Wheeler Clinic Extended Day Treatment. It's semi-structured interview that measures recent lifetime functioning in several areas, including substance abuse, legal and school functioning, and psychiatric symptoms. So the Teen Addiction Severity Index, it's semi-structured interview that consists of 7 content areas. Medical status section is not included because it's deemed as less relevant to adolescent drug abusers. The personal experience inventory consists of several scales that measure drug use problem severity, psychosocial risk, and response distortion tendencies. So, behavioral treatment approaches. There's CBT, which explores positive, negative consequences to using drugs. It helps monitor feelings, thoughts, and recognize disordered thinking patterns and cues that trigger substance abuse. The con of this is that group mentality is associated with adolescence. It can glorify drug use and undermine recovery goals. The contingency management provides adolescents an opportunity to earn low-cost incentives such as prizes or cash vouchers in exchange for participating in drug treatment, achieving important goals, and not using drugs. Motivational enhancement therapy is based on interviewing techniques. It includes initial assessments of adolescent motivation to participate in these treatments. It allows the therapist motivates the client to continue being part of this by providing non-confrontational feedback. So a family-based treatment approach. So there is the strategic family therapy, which focus on one member's problem behaviors as a stem of unhealthy family interactions. The functional family therapy, which combines family systems, view of family functioning with behavioral techniques to improve communication, problem solving, conflict resolution, and parenting skills. There's the multidimensional family therapy, which is a comprehensive family and community-based treatment for substance abusing adolescents and those at higher risk for problem behavior. And multi-systemic therapy, which is comprehensive and intensive family and community-based treatment. Medically assisted treatment, which is less commonly used at adolescents. Several medications has been found to be effective in treating addictions to opioids, alcohol, or nicotine in adults, although none of these medications have been approved by the FDA to treat adolescents. Some of the medications are buprenorphine, methadone, and naltrexone. So, functional therapy, multisystemic, and multidimensional therapy offer a comprehensive approach to adolescent substance abuse. They take into account chronic disorder, delinquency, and family functioning. Taking an environmental approach, clients receive support from immediate community. So, the individual client, the use of CBT may be the most effective in addressing the underlying thoughts, feelings, behaviors associated with drug or alcohol abuse, and it can be helpful in behavior changes over time and will involve replacing negative coping skills with more positive, helpful skills. So, some research questions we want to explore is what is the average length of time before relapse? How many relapses are common before sobriety is achieved? And does utilizing multiple treatments increase odds of achieving sobriety? And this is our reference sheet. I thank you so much for listening to this